Took my dog to the vet the other day. I was thinking about just like the scheduling alone. I feel like for vets, I don't know why it's vets, not like human doctors. I just feel like it's a horrible experience.
I don't run into that issue. Maybe I have a good vet. It is weird. I don't have the ability to schedule online. I do have to call someone, which I find strange. But then the availability is like randomly really good. Like I could basically always get a next day appointment. Maybe this vet needs to use the AI for sales and marketing.
I mean, there's the appointment scheduling, there's the prescription refill requests that you have to go through, and that's often a pain. The vaccination reminders, and this is also a product of just having multiple kids, you forget this type of stuff. Like, how do you stay on top of it? Because these are all monetizable opportunities too for you to bring your pet back in. Like, A, you want a healthy pet, right? But B, you want them to have every touch point that they can to bring them in, make sure they're healthy, and also make some money off of it.
See, this is where I think that people are like, AI is going to do all these amazing things. I don't think you should use AI for either of these things that you just said. One, because AI is not consistent with the outputs. Like it reasons, which means it's a little bit different each time. B, like the token costs are real. And then C, there are automations that people should be doing that are deterministic and that like cost almost nothing that you should just set up. And so one of the things to me is
Is this where you plug Calendly again?
Calendly could help, but honestly, like any workflow automation tool, a Zapier, an N8N, a Make, it's like, oh, we should have AI do this. It's like, no, we should just have a workflow automation with certain rules that are applied. And that way it's done very consistently on a set schedule. And it's going to be actually way cheaper to run that than to run an AI workflow.
What about the triage and back and forth of like when your dog eats something they shouldn't have or they're coughing in a weird way and you want like a quick answer just to say this is worth coming in or not? Would you use AI for that intake?
That is a good question. I would be hesitant to use AI because that starts to get into providing care, but probably having that voice SDR answer the call and then get all the information and then be able to summarize the information to the vet or whoever is on staff so that they can quickly, jump in. I would say it's like smart routing more than have AI triage the request.
All right, so maybe vets are not a prime candidate for the AI world. I'm trying to now think of other ways to support existing customers that aren't a deterministic function that you could use a link and no tokens for.
There probably are a lot around the admin of like billing insurance and following up on invoices and payments and all of that stuff, eating up a lot of time and maybe being a good use for AI. But on the supporting existing customer side, I'm kind of drawing a blank with the best AI use cases there.
Maybe people are still needed in this world, at least for that part.
Although I will have to say, I had my dog go in for a teeth cleaning at one point, and they were like, "Here's some rot in his teeth. We're gonna need to do a teeth cleaning, and what we do is we put your dog under, and then that we might need to take out a couple teeth. We'll just do that live while the dog's out." And so I got a call later. And they go, "We removed 20 of your dog's teeth." He comes home with like no teeth left. It's like, what? You said a couple of teeth. And this is a teeth cleaning, so maybe AI could do a better job of that.
They could have called you and be like, "Hey, are you cool if your dog literally is just Gumby after we bring home?"
All right, let's get to the last step. So we talked about getting more customers, supporting existing customers. What about managing the money and taxes? And maybe we'll pick a different business example this time.
Let's do a Botox clinic because I feel like they're popping up everywhere.
Is there anything you want to admit, CJ?
I want to look like Mick Jagger. I want to look weathered and like I've been through the ringer. Actually, no, he's the one that does use the Botox. He's a Keith Richards.
I do agree. These are popping up. A lot of Gen Z seem to be doing preventative Botox, which is really confusing to me. All right, how are you going to help this Botox clinic manage their money?
Well, now you got me questioning myself because you were saying that you should just use like a deterministic zap or reminder or something, but like patient balances that go unpaid. Maybe like you're offering a discount on something so they buy in a higher quality here. I feel like there's low hanging fruit within a doctor's office, any doctor office that revolves around getting paid and customer monetization touch point that just is like, they don't really want to be doing it. They actually don't enjoy those interactions and there's something to be done.
So we talked about like automations are really helpful for your dog's due for this vaccine or this vaccine's expiring. With Botox, it's a little bit more of an opt-in service. Like there is a schedule you are supposed to get refreshed. I have not done it either, but you're supposed to do it, but it's a little bit more optional. Like it's not something that's like a medical requirement. And so if I'm a Botox clinic, I probably have some email reminders, but then maybe an AI cold calling like service is actually useful too.
Right. That's scalable now.
Yeah, exactly. Because you probably are only getting such a reply rate over email. And you might want to be able to say, hey, these are customers that have been here at least twice. We should call them. And the phone number will show that it's coming from our clinic. Maybe they'll recognize that phone number and they could schedule the appointment live on the call. And hey, you need a new Botox appointment. We'd love to schedule that for you right now. When are you free? That's a better experience to me than like an automated email that you're due to come in.
All right, I know we're on the money part, but I came up with one for supporting existing customers. I had to go to the dermatologist for the first time in like maybe 20 years. And the forms they gave me, like I felt like I was just repeating myself over and over again. And they already had a ton of my info. I don't know why AI can't help with the patient intake forms that are such a pain in the ass. You have to sit in the waiting room and do them.
They're somehow all like writing it on a piece of paper. And then is it someone's job to then put that in a computer
And why do I have to give you my date of birth, 5 different pieces of paper?
like
I don't get it.
18,000 times? It's terrible. I'm trying to think on the money and the taxes side, there's probably some accounting work, right? Like managing, hey, you've got QuickBooks or something, like you've got all these sales, you've got taxes, you've got expenses. There's probably something to go into like automating some of like the expense categorization, like your reporting, just like some of the back office with these businesses.
I would also think the ordering, just knowing, like being able to talk to the front of the house of how many patients you've seen, and then to get ahead on the supply chain, saying, let's order this now. And oh, we can actually opportunistically get these supplies at a good price now. Let's order in bulk. I think you could use AI for that rather than having to do the math in your head.
Yeah, you don't want to run out of Botox if that is your main responsibility. If I reflect on these examples, like there are very real ways that small businesses can use AI, but like what we're talking about is scaling an existing service. It's not like replacing a service. It's business benefits that accrue to the owner so they can make more profit or just work fewer hours and manage busy season better. We talk about AI, it almost feels like we just jump straight to like AGI and like AI is going to take over the world. These are like pretty micro use cases at the end of the day.
They're micro use cases, and the benefit and margin accrues to the owner. And that's why I thought it was powerful. Like we talk about these huge, lofty use cases of AI and B2B software, but like I just think there's so many benefits that are these scenarios that were fuzzy before that like the owner never got into doing business to do them. There's money to be made.
All right. If you think about which business is going to be so much more profitable because of AI than they were before, like if you're starting one of these mainstream businesses, which one's that going to be? Is it going to be Dunkin' or something else?
I think it's going to be Dunkin', and more so I think like anything where you're trying to do a high velocity of orders during like a rush coffee hour, or like a lot of these businesses make the bulk of their revenue around one meal and during one rush. And I think anytime you can increase the velocity of turnover of the meals, the better. Because there have been some, like I was at the airport and you couldn't even order the Dunkin' Donuts from the person. You had to type it in on the screen. Like this is actually creating a backlog because nobody can figure it out. It took me longer. Like, and I feel like I'm pretty savvy with these things. I had to wait for this person 5 minutes to figure out how to order a coffee. Like, how do you speed up these things and save costs, but also make it more efficient, not just save costs?
Actually, I think landscaping is an interesting business because it's one of those things that literally like AI cannot do. You need people to do it, but the ability now with AI to get more customers, to have less overhead on the business, have your team more focused when they're actually like if there's a narrow amount of time when they're going to be busy and it's not raining and like it's not winter and they can work. Like I feel like that kind of business is now much more interesting than it would have been pre-AI and can kind of run on autopilot. So like landscaping, maybe like an HVAC services business, because now with HVAC, like everyone needs heating, everyone needs AC, probably needs AC more than they used to. These services business is to me are the most interesting.
Well, people will have to let us know what you're buying next. If you're buying the pizza shop or the HVAC, I don't know how to make either.
Or are you scooping up that local Dunkin' franchise before CJ can get his hands on it? When I went all in on my newsletter, Growth on Hinge, last year, I quickly decided it was time to make the switch to Beehive. I chose Beehive because they're serious about powering the internet's best newsletters. Beehive's all-in-one platform brings together newsletters, websites, and every tool you need to grow and earn. And they keep making it better. You can now launch, host, and monetize your podcast entirely on Beehive. You can host webinars on Beehive. And you can access Beehive through the new MCP. I just use Beehive's MCP and Claude Cowork to audit my site, prioritize SEO fixes, and analyze subscriber trends. It's my newest obsession. If you care about owning your audience, Beehive is a no-brainer. Try Beehive for free by going to beehive.com. That's BEEHIIV.com. Use Kyle30 for 30% off your first 3 months.